let's get started. So, hello everyone. My name is Rishika Chikoti. I am a senior at Adelaide East Stevenson High School in Lincolnshire, Illinois.
Hi everyone, my name is Manan Shah, and I'm a rising high school senior from Edison, New Jersey.
And with us today we have Saumya Dwivedi, the lead of operations of SecondMedic. And Saumya, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
So if you could just start off by telling us what SecondMedic is for someone who doesn't know.
SecondMedic basically provides a virtual healthcare experience for those who seek it out of necessity and or convenience.
Awesome. So what do you think truly inspired the creation of SecondMedic? Was it just something that kind of came to you guys overnight, or was it something a result of years of journey or thought?
My grandmother got diagnosed with breast cancer about 30-40 years back. She initially beat it, but several years later, scans showed the return of cancer tissue. She passed back in 2014, primarily due to the late return diagnosis, and at that point, there was nothing that could be done. So that really inspired us to start SecondMedic.
So sorry for the loss of your grandma. And based on that, how did you guys go about getting formed and starting? Because I do know that you have an international team.
Well, we started with identifying a location where this company was best suited to attract and help the most people. We mapped and figured that we would find the most revenue in places with an initial lack of companies like us. We found a large consumer base in India, seeing that there are many corrupt practices. We're a part of our family actually in the UK and the US. So, because we really wanted a reliable base of people that we could really trust and people who had the same amount of belief in SecondMedic as we did. So then we just started we started to develop a larger panel of doctors to stem various specialties from and form a larger network of physicians.
Awesome. So, you kind of already touched upon this, but maybe you can go a little more in depth into this. So can you start to explain your business model to us? So how does the revenue come in, and what are some things you guys have had to tweak and improve on over the years?
Well, initially we did start out as just a company. Our idea was we would just provide a second opinion, but eventually we started exploring more opportunities and going virtual, because we noticed that there was a larger demand in some areas for distance diagnosis. So we started to look into that, and once we found a large a base of customers that we thought that we could really base our company off of, we'd start to go onto that.
And how did the onset of COVID-19, this whole pandemic, affect your business, either for better or for worse?
The pandemic definitely helped us accelerate the process of normalizing telemedicine. Due to fear and caution, more and more people are slowly turning large chunks of their life virtual. Reliance on virtual medical options is increasing, which is where we step in. Telemedicine, it's not really normalized. It's not a very normal go-to, and it's definitely helping us become more practiced.
So it sounds like COVID-19 has kind of helped catalyze the growth of your business, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So how do you think your company will continue to grow following the containment of COVID-19? Are there any specific lessons you guys have learned as a result of the pandemic?
We're definitely trying to create a stronger presence in social media to really become a trusted family brand. We want people to not only come to us for special cases, but also continue coming to us for regular checkups, appointments. We want to become a part of people's daily lives, basically. We also, in terms of location-based availability, we want to bring SecondMedic to the US, UK, and eventually global.
And so how are your marketing efforts developing in order to reach more communities around the world?
We're definitely trying to get more and more doctors, actual physicians in more and more areas, because it is easier if our doctors are able to be there, doorstep to doorstep. It really helps us connect with families.
So, you talk about the doctors on your team. So, how exactly how does your vetting process work for the doctors you guys choose to work with?
Well, any successful business requires a strong base of hardworking and driven individuals. For us, you really have to develop a criteria based on what your company's priorities are. For us, trust was definitely really important. It needs to be established because it's pretty vital for communication. We look for people who have the same amount of belief in SecondMedic as we do. This generally ensures commitment. Starting a business doesn't really come without its ups and downs, and having people who are easily reliable really lessens that load.
And how's the morale in the team been affected during the pandemic?
Definitely, it's raised some concerns. Our plans were that we would have people like meet and actually in person discuss stuff and have things planned out, meet with other people to help spread our company. But because of the pandemic, we haven't really been able to reach as many people, like meetings and stuff in that sense, in person. So it's limited our reach in terms of business, but not like the actual marketplace.
Has there been anything you found that is helpful in bringing the team together during the pandemic to at least make the doctors feel like this is still something to look forward to, boost their morale?
There are cases where, like the cases where we do make a substantial difference and we see the effect that we've made, that really helps because, those success stories definitely help us, like motivate us to continue to do what we're doing.
So, we've talked about kind of how the pandemic has impacted COVID-19, has impacted SecondMedic. What kind of issues did SecondMedic face even pre-COVID? Like, what as a company, what have you guys had to deal with?
Well, it was definitely our biggest problem initially was building traction within our target audience. As I said, virtual medicine is not a societal norm yet, and getting users comfortable with the interface and how things work really takes time, and getting people to trust people that they can't really see in like face-to-face, it takes time. So we really had to get people to understand what we were and what we do.
Do you guys have any tips for building trust with customers? Anything you guys have learned along the way?
You definitely have to establish a sense of relatability. You have to be able to put yourself in their shoes and really connect with them on a more personal level besides just the medical aspect. You get to know their families, you get to know their situation.
And so now, if there's other young entrepreneurs there who want to follow in your footsteps, what do you say are your top 3 tips for them?
Getting involved early on is pretty vital to develop key skills. Experience in the field is priceless. Getting to explore entrepreneurship firsthand is extremely beneficial and it provides knowledge you can't just get through studying. Second, genuinely believe in yourself. The workspace is truly cutthroat and there will be people eager for your downfall. But letting people set your limits is very destructive. The confidence you project in yourself and your idea gets reflected back. Lastly, eliminate hesitation and turn your visions into realities. The longer you delay the initial takeoff, the more daunting the first steps will seem. This might sound cliche, but if you can dream it, you can do it.
And I know in general, people tend to think that as someone who's younger, it's harder to be successful as an entrepreneur. But is there anything you found that you've actually been able to bring to the table because of you being younger than most other people?
A lot of people see youth as being naive, but I find that naiveness really helps me connect with people on a deeper level. And it's easier for me to put myself in other shoes than I do see in adults or older people, because I feel like in this industry, people get desensitized very quickly and they turn somewhat cold. But I feel like having a youthful edge to the way you think definitely helps.
Definitely. So what lessons do you think that SecondMedic has learned over the years that can be applied to truly any industry in entrepreneurship?
If you turn back at every roadblock, you will never reach your destination. Throughout the startup, there was no lack of people who doubted our success, but we continue to place time and effort into our belief in SecondMedic, and we are definitely seeing the results. So you can't stop just because a couple people say that it won't work or it's probably going to be really hard. You just keep doing what you're doing and you'll see the results.
Makes sense. And then just to quickly wrap it up, so what kind of efforts are you guys making right now to start to expand SecondMedic's reach?
We're definitely trying to expand our location so we can reach more people in different areas. Obviously, we're just based in India, but soon we are planning to move to the US and UK, eventually global. And we also, like I said, we want to be sort of a reoccurring thing in people's lives. So we're not just there for a one-time thing. We continue to help them.
And if you had to have one final message for any young entrepreneurs or those aspiring to be entrepreneurs, what would that message be?
Don't doubt yourself just because you are younger does not mean you're any less capable of doing whatever any older person could do in this field. Success definitely starts within yourself, and you genuinely have to think you can do it to be able to do it. So it doesn't matter if people say that you're incapable of starting your own business, your own startup. You can do it. You just have to start somewhere.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today, Saumya. It was really great hearing from you and your, I would say, youth perspective on entrepreneurship as a whole. It's great to hear about your story. Manan, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I think it's great what you've been doing with SecondMedic, and thank you again for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.